what do you love the most about the original Lion King story that pulled you to make a new adaptation?
Times you see movies that you loved a long time ago and you watch them again and they're not as good as you remember, but this one had a great story, but the music, I think, is really the part that wakes up our hearts, makes us remember the experience of seeing it.
And talking about the music, well, we all know and love the original soundtrack, and I know that Hans Zimmer came back for this adaptation. How was it to work with him, and what can you tell us about, well, making the songs again?
And it was wonderful to have him help guide me through how to bring in new singers and new songs and how to make it fit into the feeling, the authentic feeling of the original. So he was more than just a composer, he was really an advisor too.
I know that you made a whole new song for the movie.
There are a few, so because we have end credits and there's, we wanted to make sure that we maintained the original music too. Hans Zimmer and Lebo and the new singers, of course, reinvented the old songs to some extent, but then there was also room to fit some other music in a way that didn't distract from the original songs.
I know that when you made The Jungle Book, you made some changes to the story. Is The Lion King a more faithful version, or how different is it?
And what's interesting is if you look at The Jungle Book and you look at the original one, but as far as the story points, it matches pretty closely. This one matches even closer. There are certain scenes that people know very well and certain lines of dialogue, songs, even shots that people remember because they've seen the movie so many times. A lot of people who grew up with it have seen it over and over again. So I wanted to make sure that we were honoring the people who love the original so much. But we were able to pull stuff in from that, from the Broadway show, and even from other source material like Hamlet. We look for clues anywhere that might help us build upon what the old one was, because this movie runs, I think, 20 or 30 minutes longer than the original, so there is room for more, but we didn't want to ever take away from what people expect from the original.
I know that while you filmed The Lion King, you used virtual reality.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about this innovation?
We had to figure out a way to make an animated movie look like it was live action, because Disney was interested in a live action remake, but there's nothing live action in it. And so using virtual reality, we were able to put a real film crew into a virtual animated movie and walk around inside the film wearing the goggles. And all of us together could operate like a live action film crew and film the animals and film the environment.
And how hard was it?
Well, it took a lot of innovation and it took a lot of smart people to help solve problems. And it also took a very flexible film crew. A guy like Caleb Deschanel has been making movies for many decades and never worked in an effects-heavy movie. So mixing young tech people with older, established film people, it was a meeting of two different cultures. But I think we got energy from it. I think it was exciting more than difficult.
How hard was it to make the animals' expressions and maintaining them real?
Yeah, we made a decision pretty early on that we weren't going to animate the animals to have human expressions. And so we had to find other ways to express emotion in the animals besides human facial expressions. And we got a lot of clues from documentaries because it's amazing how much emotion you could feel for animals watching a good documentary. And they use different tools. They use music and editing and camera angles, lensing, lighting. So we studied documentaries very closely to see how we could get an emotional performance out of animals that didn't have too much human emotion, human expression.